investment group and his other organization, the Oakland Bulk and Oversized Terminal. Well, actually, technically, that's he shares that a company with Insight Terminal Solutions. So that's not Phil's company. I should be careful how I speak of it. But the bottom line is that the city of Oakland is trying a last ditch effort to stop the operation of the Oakland Bulk and Oversized Terminal. Period. And to do so, they filed to have a hearing with the California Supreme Court. Now, the Supreme Court has until October 1st to decide whether or not he wants to take the case at all. There are a number of people who believe that the California Supreme Court won't even touch the case. If that's the case, Phil wins. Consider this, folks. Consider this. First of all, the whole matter of the Oakland Bulk and Oversized Terminal came about because the Army and the military gave up the military bases to the Oakland community. That was in 1994. We had an organization called the Oakland Alameda County Base Realignment and Closure Commission. And prior to that, we had the East Bay Conversion and Reinvestment Committee, which I was on at the behest of then Alameda County Supervisor Keith Carson. This was in 1994. And so that paved the way for the conveyance of the land to Oakland, the land specifically being the Oakland Army base, on the proviso that the new development built would offer the same income generating jobs of low skill that the Oakland Army base had. All right. I'm not saying exactly the same jobs. Note what I said. The same income generation, same high level of income, but low skill. All right. High level of income, low skill. That's the idea. So a number of people offered options, development options for the city. The Wayans brothers, for example, wanted to build a movie studio. All of the development plans and proposals had one problem, save for one of them. All of them did not meet the requirement of replacing the high pay, low skill jobs the Oakland Army base had, except Phil's idea, the Oakland Bulk and Oversized Terminal. It was never to be a coal terminal. No, a bulk terminal, by its operation and design, is a throughput for a number of different commodities, including iron ore and coke and coal. In its market study, the city of Oakland essentially identified coal as the best option. This was when Pat Cashman was the project manager. Actually, Pat Cashman hired me to be intern with the city of Oakland in 1986. I started in 87. So back to the story. Phil won the competition, and he came with AMB Capital as a backer. Phil proved that his group had the credibility, certainty, capacity to build the bulk terminal. He partnered with Kinder Morgan because he wanted to use, when coal was identified as a commodity to haul that had the best market return, Phil wanted to use covered rail cars with the objective of establishing the construction of a zero emissions facility. In fact, Fred Blackwell, who was then the economic development director for the city of Oakland, said in a video interview with me here at Zenny62 YouTube that the Oakland Bulk and Oversized Terminal was a gift to the environmental community. His words, not mine. A gift to the environmental community. So the city signed the agreements, including a document, the development agreement, where all council members signed off on it, and where it was noted that among the commodities to be handled in this throughput design was coal. Coal. That was 2013. 2014, Tom Steyer emerged on the scene using his monies gained mostly from coal investment to actually work against fossil fuels and push in a kind of a hedge fund way, because he was a hedge fund manager, and push the development of clean energy. In so doing, Tom Steyer, spent $3 million pushing new legislation, or trying to push new legislation through the California legislature, and also through their various cities like Oakland. A number of Oakland elected officials and nonprofits gained from Tom Steyer's wealth. Yes, I said that. A number of Oakland elected officials at the time, including council members. That changed the political wind for the Oakland bulk and oversized terminal. And suddenly the city of Oakland said, well, hey, wait a minute. We didn't know coal was involved. It did. Doug Cole and Pat Cashman routinely, 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 routinely advised and informed the city of the development's throughput capacity plans and market objectives. So it was known, but it wasn't put or considered with the same emphasis because there was no Tom Steyer to say, hey, look, I'm going to pay you not to think about the use of coal in economic development, or use or advancing coal related efforts in economic development. In 2014, there was that person. So, long story short, the city tried in many ways to back away from the agreements it signed, as opposed to working with Phil Tagami and California Capital Investment Group and Inside Terminal Solutions, where Phil was so intent on having a zero emissions development that he fired Kinder Morgan for lying to him about covered rail cars and hired Inside Terminal Solutions. Covered rail cars are widely used. Don't believe the nonprofit news so-called publications that violate the law, by the way. It's another story. At any rate, there have been a number of court cases since Oakland tried to place a ban on coal and the ban was struck down. In all, there are 322 pages of rulings against the city of Oakland. The city of Oakland has not won once. Again, there are 322 pages of rulings against the city. So with all of that, why would anyone expect that the city of Oakland would win at the Supreme Court level? It won't. Right now, the city owes Phil arguably about $23 million in attorney's fees. But that's for the Oakland case. To come is the Kentucky case, and that could lead to a greater fiscal loss for the city. All because Oakland forgot how to do economic development and doesn't want to do it and doesn't want to help businesses, large or small. It's content to allow mom and pop stores to be robbed, to close, never to open again. Its intent is to leave restaurants alone unaided. There's no Oakland Restaurant Association or Oakland Restaurant Development Corporation, right? There's a name for you. The Oakland Restaurant Development Corporation, to aid in the development of restaurants in Oakland and make sure that they stay open. Nothing like that. Horrible stuff. Absolutely horrible. So the problem is should be quite clear. The city has not allowed Phil Tagami and his partners to develop the much needed bulk terminal that goes all the way back to the Bay Seaport Plan of 1986, which called for Oakland to have a bulk terminal. We are that far behind in the appropriate land use so that the Port of Oakland can be a top player and continue to be a top player in waterborne cargo. Subscribe to Zenny62 and bookmark ZennyReport.com and OaklandNewsOnline.com. Stay tuned for more on this.